the laughter round my knees, draped it round my shoulder like a Spanish shawl. And history began once again. I received it and let it circulate in my blood. I learned on those Saturday afternoons about women rooted in themselves, raising themselves in dark America, discharging their pain without ever stopping. I learned about women fighting men back when they hit them. Don't never let no men's hit you more than once, girl. I learned about women's waking up their men's in the night with pans of hot grease, and the compromises reached after the smell of hot grease had penetrated their sleepy brains. I learned about loose women walking their abandoned walk down front in church, crossing their legs instead of their hands to God. And I crept into my eyes alone with my daydreams of being woman, adult, powerful, loving like them, allowing nobody to rule me if I didn't want to be. And when they left, when those old bodies had gathered up their sovereign smells after they had kissed and packed up beans snapped and cakes cooked and laughter bagged, after they had called out their last goodbyes, I crawled out of my place, surveyed the room, then walked over to the couch where some had sat for hours and bent my head and smelled their evening smells. I screamed out loud, "Ooh, we ain't that stinky." And I laughed, laughter from 1,000 corridors. And you turned, Mama, closed the door, chased me round the room until I crawled into a corner where your large body could not reach me. But your laughter pierced the little alcove where I sat laughing at the night, and your humming sprinkled my small space, your humming about your Jesus and how one day he was going to take you home. Because you died when I was 6, Mama, I never laughed like that again. Because you died without warning, Mama, my sister and I moved from family to stepmother to friend of the family. I never felt your warmth again, but I knew corners and alcoves and closets where I was pushed when some mad woman went out of control, where I sat for days while some woman raved in rhymes about unwanted children and work and not enough money or love, and I set out my childhood with stutters and poems gathered in my head like some winter storm, and the poems erased the stutters and pain, and the words loved me, and I loved them in return. My first real poem was about you, Mama, and death. My first real poem recited an alphabet of spit, splattering a white bus driver's face after he tried to push cousin Lucille off a bus, and she left Birmingham under the cover of darkness forever. My first real poem is about your Charles white arms holding me up against death. My life flows from you, Mama. My style comes from a long line of Louises who picked me up in the night to keep me from wetting the bed. A long line of Sarahs who fed me and my sister and 14 other children from watery soups and beans and a lot of imagination. A long line of Lizzies who made me understand love, sharing, holding a child up to the stars, holding your tribe in a grip of love. A long line of black people holding each other up against silence. I still hear your humming, Mama. The color of your song calls me home. The color of your words saying, let her be. She got a right to be different. She gonna stumble on herself one of these days. Just let the child be, and I be, Mama. In the north, where my family moved to, the north of New York City, the north of Harlem, tenements, brownstones, bodegas and barrios, the north of a first-floor back apartment, the north of a bedroom with a window facing a brick wall and a courtyard of garbage and smells and sounds of poor people's voices splitting the night. In the north of subtle racism and open disrespect of a teacher walking into our classroom and stating to the boys, I don't know why I'm going to try to teach you anything because you'll just end up in jail. And some of the young men fulfilled her predictions and ended up in prison. And she turned and looked at the young girls and said, I don't know why I'm going to teach you. You're just going to end up having babies. And some of them did too. This teacher lived out what Carlos Fuentes said, we only hurt others when we're incapable of imagining them. Cruelty is caused by a failure of the imagination, the inability to assign the same feelings and values to another person that you harbor in yourself. So I help people to imagine me, black women, men, children, and all of our beautiful and terrible selves, just like them.